Hi, everybody. My name is Cynthia Kane, and I am a professor and instruction and assessment librarian at the Emporia State University Libraries and Archives. And today, in this tutorial, we're going to be looking at some specific help features of styling with APA citation style, the American Psychological Association. So the first thing I wanted to do is show you a few differences between APA and other citation styles that you may have been more used to using in different disciplines or in different classes. There is a basic philosophy behind APA. It is designed specifically for scientific research with an eye toward publication. And that is a little bit different than the MLA style or the Modern Language Association citation style. The MLA style is more designed for humanities disciplines. So in English, for example, we see MLA being used quite a bit more frequently. Whereas with the social sciences, psychology, and so forth, we see APA being used increasingly frequently. There is something from the FAQs, or the frequently asked questions from the APA site that says, rules of style in scientific writing encourage full disclosure of essential information and allow us to dispense with minor distractions. So in other words, there are reasons why there are rules to APA citation style, in-text citations, the references list, and so forth. So as a result, what we find is that the in-text references and citations in APA style tend to focus upon two particular aspects: the year of the publication and also the accuracy of complex materials such as tables and statistics. This is actually one reason, if you're doing a reference in APA style for a book or an article or website or other item, you tend to focus upon the year in parentheses right after the author's information. So the focus very much is much more upon the currency of information. What I've done here is showed you the same citation for the same journal article in APA, Chicago Manual of Style, which is another way of citing references, and finally MLA. And I want you to just take a second and look at some of the differences. Notice with APA style, for example, we put the first names of the authors as initials, as opposed to Chicago and MLA, that tend to spell out everything, including the full names of the authors. I said just a few seconds ago that in APA style, we focus a little bit more upon the year in parentheses, and you'll notice this with the first APA citation. The other thing you'll notice is that in APA, this is for a journal article, we're not using double quotation marks around the title of the journal article. In contrast to that, we do use double quotation marks around the title of the journal article in Chicago and also MLA. Now, one reason that APA will actually use just the initials of the author's first names is that, in particular, they want to avoid any unintentional biases in gender or any other perceptions of that nature. APA very much focuses upon bias-free language. Now, some of you may be used to using something called a cite feature or citation tools feature in different databases, such as PsycInfo, Academic Search Complete, other databases that we have through the library. Now, here's the thing, and this may have happened to you at one time or another. The database is actually not going to be intuitive enough to convert everything consistently into correct citation style, whether it be Chicago or MLA or APA. So it's incredibly important, if you use the cite feature or citation tools in a database, check, double check, triple check, because you're probably going to have to do some editing depending upon what we might call the metadata, which is actually the data that was entered originally for the record of that article or other item in that database. And I have an example for you here. I used a database called Academic Search Premier. I generated a citation for this article in APA, and I copied and pasted it directly. Can you identify some errors? So one that's sticking out, for example, is that all the words in the title of the journal article are indeed capitalized. those words actually would appear in lowercase in a correct APA style citation. This is just the format that they use. So I would have to go through and I would have to change and convert those other following words into lowercase. Another item that sticks out is look at the title of the journal and look at the word of. The word of is capitalized here because it was capitalized in the original metadata of the bibliographic record in the database. I would have to change that word of to lowercase. So those are just some minor considerations, but some things that you need to look at. Do not ever take this as 100% accurate because, again, a database and the citation tools within it are not intuitive enough to convert everything into correct APA style. And that's why it's really important to know how to do your citations, how to do your references in APA style, and also where to get help when you need it. And that's what we're going to be covering. We have a resource now that we have added to the library, and it's called Academic Writer. And I'm going to show you next how to use Academic Writer and what it can be used for. It is officially from the American Psychological Association. This is crucial because you know that the information you're getting in Academic Writer is going to be correct from the American Psychological Association, as opposed to something that somebody else created that might be a help for APA style, but it's not officially vetted or endorsed by APA. You have free access to Academic Writer as an ESU student. The access is at the Databases tab of the library's webpage, library.emporia.edu. The first thing you're going to do, and I'm going to show you how to do this in just a second, is register for a free account to use all three centers. There are actually three centers within Academic Writer: Learn, Reference, and Write. The Learning Center is really useful because it actually has video quick guides and quick tutorials to help you get started with citing a resource in APA format, how to do some research and some writing styles. The Reference Center, the second one, contains tools to assist in building and managing references in APA style. And finally, the third center, Write, is the Writing Center. And this one actually contains a number of research paper templates for things such as a literature review, a quantitative analysis, and also just a basic paper template. You can actually write your paper if you're doing an assignment for a class within one or more of these templates in the Writing Center. You can save it, you can actually collaborate with other people as well, and you can save your papers as Microsoft Word documents or PDFs, export them when they're done, and then go ahead and submit them for your assignment. So let's take a look at Academic Writer. So I am at the library's webpage. I noted earlier that the easiest way to get to this is library.emporia.edu. However, you can also click on the Library and Archives link within Canvas. Once you're within a Canvas course, that will also take you to the library's webpage. Also, at the bottom of every page for ESU, there's going to be a link toward the bottom here for libraries and archives. So there's always more than one way of getting to where you need to be. By the way, you're going to see over here, there's a little chat feature open. You can actually chat with the librarian whenever that chat feature is open, and we can help you answer some quick basic questions. The chat feature is not that great for more in-depth research questions, but if you have just a quick question on, if we have a journal article, how do I get access to a database, we're happy to help you through chat as well. We are actually not going to chat right now because we're going to go into this Databases tab. And what you'll notice is that Academic Writer is going to be one of the first ones listed under the letter A, so I can get it to here, or I can get to it over here as well. Now, I am actually on the ESU campus when I clicked on Academic Writer, so I actually was taken directly into that resource. Most of you probably are going to be searching off campus at your homes or in your residence halls or wherever you would happen to be. If you're searching off campus, you would actually get a screen before this one that would prompt you to enter your buzzing username and password. Don't be surprised if you get that. With any of our databases, you will be asked to enter that information because then that authenticates you as a currently enrolled ESU student. But like I said, since I'm on campus, it's recognizing me, so I did not get that initial screen. The first thing you want to do on Academic Writer, if you've never used it before, is to go up to this Welcome feature, click on Login. And you will want to create an Academic Writer account through our service, basically through our access to Academic Writer. The reason you want to do that, and you can see that I have created one already, is that your free account with Academic Writer is now going to let you access all of these tools and also save a lot of work as you go along. So let's look at Learn first. The first center, Learn, has quick guides, very short videos to learn featured APA style rules. There are some longer tutorials if you need something longer on how to write, or if you're going to be writing an article for a publication. You can do some self-quizzes, and you can also go to sample papers and sample references to see exactly how APA style rules are actually applied. I'm going to click on Quick Guides. And if I clicked on Sample References, I like this as a quick guide as well. So let's say that I needed to know how to cite an APA style an archived entry in Wikipedia. That just gave me a very nice little example that I can use. And you can see that I would put the title of the article from Wikipedia, the year and the date information would be next in parentheses. Wikipedia actually is italicized because that's a major work, and it's going to say retrieved from, and then I put the URL for that article. Let's go back up here, and we're going to go back to the Learning Center. If I click on Sample Papers, these are actually papers that people have written. Obviously, I don't want to use these, but I can use this as a way of seeing what a case study paper might look like, a sample case study paper. And there's a sample literature review. So you see that I could just actually click on that thumbnail and I can see how that paper should be formatted, the way that it looks. And that's really handy if you have to do a paper in a particular style and you've never actually written one in that way before. Again, we don't plagiarize, but we can use those as examples. Now let's go to Reference. And Reference is the second tab, or the second center in Academic Writer. If you have references that you have actually downloaded in files such as Zotero for a bibliographic management software program, you can actually import references into the Reference Center to integrate into your paper. Or you can go to Add References. This is actually something that I really like. So I can say that I'm looking at a journal article. And this is a marvelous little template that I can use. So let's say that I have a reference to a journal article, and I'm just not quite sure how to format that in APA citation style. I can choose the default here. If I'm not dealing with a reprinted journal article, I can just leave that as default. If I have the author's name, I can start adding something. And I'm just sort of playing with mine here. I can do the year of publication for that journal article. I can add the title, the source. If I wanted to add a short abstract, if I were writing like an annotated bibliography, then any additional notes. And this would add this to my references, but it will help me generate that correct reference. Now this is very handy if you're dealing with a journal article, maybe that you have a copy of. Maybe you have a copy in PDF or you have a copy of it in print. You can actually use this then to help you create that reference in correct APA style. And then that will go to something called My References, and it will actually be saved. This is again why you really want to create a free account, because you want to save all your work that you're doing in Academic Writer. You do not want that to go away. Let's go to the third center, Write. This is one of my favorite places. If I wanted to start writing a new paper, I told you that there are different templates. So if you have to write a paper as a literature review and you've never formatted it that way before, you can choose this template for literature review paper, or methodological, or case study. Most of the time, a lot of students are just using a basic paper. And I want to use this as a student assignment. And at this point, I can just go ahead and enter a title. It can actually be like a working title. I can do that. I'm going to do eating disorders treatment. And again, I'm just using this as a working title. And now I can just start writing. I don't have anything in my reference list right now, but if I had added different references that were basically my working bibliography for my paper about eating disorders treatment, this is where I could start importing them as in-text citations and also the references list. Now, what I like about this too is I can actually just start typing at this point. It's going to automatically format it as Times New Roman 12 point. Notice this looks very familiar. It looks like a Microsoft Word document or maybe something from Google Docs. I can do a new section. So my new section might be literature review. Look at that. Everything is formatted perfectly, and I can start typing at this point. I could start adding references. I could add tables or figures. There's just a lot of different things that I could do. Let's click on preview. So you see that my title is there already, and it saved it. And there's my next page, literature review. I love this because a lot of this is already set up for you. Now, this feature called Collaborate. If you are working with another person in your class or a team on the same project, you can all have academic writer accounts, and then you can be set up as collaborators. And the nice thing about this is that one person could add new users. They could also designate users' roles. So you might have one collaborator who's working on the literature review. You might have another collaborator that's working on the references list, another collaborator that might be working on the methodology. That can be very handy, again, if you're writing a paper together as a group or a team. We're going to go back to edit. And I'm not going to fill this out with a lot of information, but I did want to show you that when you are done with your document, this is where you can choose to export it and download it, either as a Word document or PDF. And often PDF is a good one to do and to submit for a class assignment. So you can see how easy this is. Now, everything that I've done, again, this is saved in my account because I'm signed in as myself. So that just actually scratches the surface of Academic Writer. There's a lot more that you can do with it. I would encourage you to contact any of us as librarians. I will give you my contact information again at the end of this presentation. Any of us would be very happy to work with you more in depth on how Academic Writer works and how it can really help you with APA style. Now, that's not the only place where you can find help with APA style. On this slide, I've given you some links for you to check out. For example, there's a link to APA Frequently Asked Questions. This is a good one to check out, but one of my favorite ones is actually the APA Style blog at blog.apastyle.org. The APA Style blog will actually let you search and actually look for information about how to do different references or just how different things are covered in terms of APA style. It's updated weekly by people who work at APA. We also have the online writing lab at Purdue. Some of you may have used the OWL at Purdue site for APA formatting and style. This is also a very good resource to go for additional information. One of the drawbacks with it is that it's not officially vetted by APA. So I am probably going to steer you all toward Academic Writer first, since we do have access to that here at the library. I do want to show you, just really quickly, we're going to go back here to Google. And I did want to show you very quickly how the APA style blog works. Blog apastyle.org. And you notice that one of the most recent updates from last December is how to cite Instagram in APA style. This is actually why I like this blog so much, because it does tend to cover a lot of different things in terms of social media and other aspects in terms of doing APA style that we might not know how to do and we might not think about. And sometimes I get questions like these from students. I will often consult the APA style blog, so it's showing you exactly how to do something like this. And I told you up here that you can actually search it. So if I search for Facebook, here's an article from the APA style blog on how to cite a hashtag. So hashtags, of course, are very popular in Twitter and other forms of social media. And then just overall, how to cite social media in APA style. So I did want to leave you with some of these links that you can check out when you have time on your own. This particular link is also a good flash tutorial about how to write papers and how to do APA style citations. Again, a lot of these video tutorials in smaller chunks are also available through Academic Writer. Finally, I'm going to do a quick plug. We have another workshop coming up that we will also be doing a recording for. It's called Get Your Research Together. And it's Tuesday, February 26th from 4 to 4:30 p.m. in the library electronic classroom. We are going to be covering in that some freely available bibliographic software programs. Zotero, Mendeley, and other free software programs. All of these will help you download citations, organize your bibliographies in different citation styles, and they will also help you create folders for organizing information. I use Zotero quite a bit in my own research. There are just a lot of different ways that you can organize your research a lot more effectively. So please mark that on your calendar for Tuesday, February 26, 2019. Again, we'll be doing a recording of that one as well and making that available, so you can always consult that. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Again, I'm Cynthia Kane from the Emporia State University Libraries and Archives. You can reach me at ckane1@emporia.edu. You can also call me or leave a voicemail at 620-341-5480. If you are not able to visit with me in person, I'm happy to make research appointments through Zoom so that we can share screens back and forth. So please don't hesitate to ask me, consult me if you have any questions. Thank you.